also just thinking too more broadly about collaboration and your role as a staff member, right? You and I collaborate extensively to do the work of running a writing center. When you guys came to us to ask, do this interview, I was thinking collaborative scholarship and sort of the collaborative publication sense, but really what we're doing is collaborative scholarship, right? It is working together to make knowledge while also running a program.
Right.
So I think that's, an interesting way to think about the concept of collaborative scholarship and where we can find it in different places.
I like writing about the things that I'm doing at the time, and I'm always doing those things with a lot of other people.
Collaboration is almost built in different ways into both the process and the product of our work.
Some have said, they consider a dissertation to be a co-authored project, even though it's not, but I think that's another place you see collaboration.
A book is obviously collaborative, but there's a single author. It seems that, especially in composition studies, especially in digital media studies, where there's so much labor required to produce some of these products, it's simply foregrounding and expanding the notion of authorship.
Thickness with which we want to explore what writing actually is sort of requires that we pull on different disciplines, different methodologies. I want to put into conversation not just traditional modes of interpretation of texts, but also ethnographic models and methodologies, and also increasingly cognitive and post-cognitive models. So I'm trying to complicate the notion of collaboration for you.
Thinking a lot about including your participants or seeing them as collaborators, which I think is something our field has been moving to do.
The way in which I view a collaborative project, it has to be rhetorical. I think that we really have to consider the purpose and the context, and if it really collaboration best enhances both the process and the product, and our expertise, our growth as scholars relative to our goals for that project. I think we need to view collaboration more critically. In my dissertation, I did try to give credit and to show how this is really a byproduct of all the collaborative relationships that I have established, especially that I've done ethnographic work, and I really had to build relationships across a period of 2 years, and even before that, it's still hierarchical. There's still the politics of presence, I think, even in this collaborative studies.
Wow.
Part of that reciprocation, I think, is that you don't want to split between technical roles and intellectual or conceptual roles in collaborative relationships. I feel that's when those problems happen with reciprocation, when you get the one person that's like, oh, you're the person that knows how to execute this, and then gradually or perhaps dramatically the relationship shifts to where one person or more people will be the thinkers and the other person will be the doer, and that's impoverishing the project. Not only because you're kind of limiting who gets to input in what areas, but also because you're not thinking about technique as concept and you're not thinking about concept as technique.
To understand a system well enough to try to duplicate it elsewhere, you have got to know all of the players from the back end to the front end and what's going out the other end. There's just 100 people behind the scenes for every project that you create.